Welcome, Arturo.
Thank you, my love. Thank you for having me.
It was wonderful to hear you and your group perform today. Can you tell us a little bit about the repertoire that you performed on stage here in Toronto?
Well, we try to reach a vast span of repertoire. We try to go across many different genres. We try and play some traditional music. We try and play some original compositions. We also try and play some music from the Americas, not just Cuban music. We try to play something modern, something traditional. We try to really go across a wide spectrum of what people might or might not enjoy. Some people hate the mambo. Some people love the mambo. Some people hate experimental jazz. Some people love experimental jazz. But to me, it's all music, and we have a responsibility to try and make our music as accessible as we can to everyone.
Can you define for us what it means to you, Afro Latin jazz?
Well, the diaspora took place throughout the Americas. Sometimes people forget that the jazz was not just an experiment in New Orleans, but that it was something that took place in Colombia, it was something that took place in Venezuela, something that took place in Mexico. Wherever slaves ended up, the same forces that created jazz created that same music in all over the Pan-American world. And so we have incredible rhythms from Colombia, from Peru. We have festejo, porro, all kinds of rhythms. And I think that calling it Latin jazz without paying attention to these other incredible flavors is like saying I'm gonna eat hamburgers every day for the next 30 years, and what kind of person are you?
Right. Okay, so here we have a blend, actually, or fusion of different sounds and influences.
I like to think of it as an embrace of what music, African diasporic music really is. It's music of the Americas. It's music of the New World. I mean, Americans would like to appropriate it for themselves, call it jazz, but it really belongs to all of us.
Can you tell us a little bit about how you ended up getting involved in music, and what were your first inspirations?
I first listened to music as a child, and of course I listened to Elton John and all those great artists of the old days, but I really became involved in piano playing when I heard Herbie Hancock playing Miles Davis's group, 7 Steps to Heaven, and I fell in love with the craft. I fell in love with an instrument, and I've never looked back. In those years, I've done many things. I was involved in music of Carla Bley, free jazz. I was in one of the first hip-hop groups. I've performed with everyone from Machito Orchestra to Oliver Lake. I mean, everything, every gamut. I've written for films. I've done all kinds of stuff, and I actually conducted and played piano for Harry Belafonte for 3 years. And we visited Canada a lot because Canadians seem to love Harry, which is great because I love Canada. So it was a lovely thing to have happen. And I loved working with Harry too. But I've done so many things. I've played with so many people. I've been involved in music for so many years.
And in terms of the group that you have founded, the Afro Latin Jazz Ensemble and Octet, can you tell us when that first came about and how you formed it?
In 1995, my father performed with Wynton Marsalis at Alice Tully Hall in Lincoln Center. And I looked at Wynton and I said, it's nice you have this big band, blah, 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 but what about us? We have a big band tradition. Can you direct us to an institution that would house us? And he said, 5 years later, he said, I'll give you a home. So we created the Afro Latin Jazz Orchestra for Jazz at Lincoln Center, and we were there for 5 years, a sister orchestra to the Lincoln Center Jazz Orchestra. And then we had different goals. We wanted to create our own education programs, our own records, our own status, our own existence. And so we left Jazz at Lincoln Center, and we've been a part of our own organization called the Afro Latin Jazz Alliance. We do education, we do touring, we do recording, we do all kinds of incredible stuff. So pretty much about, 13, 14 years now we've been around.
Now, we know that you have been nominated 8 times for Grammy Awards, and you actually won 3 Grammys. Can you tell us what the awards were? Tell our audience a little bit about the awards that you received.
We won the Best Latin Jazz Album of 2008 for the song for Chico, or 2009, I forget. And we also won the Best Instrumental Album for the Latin Grammys for 2014. and we won the 2014 Best Latin Jazz Album for The Offense of the Drum with the National Academy of Recording Arts and Sciences. But I got to tell you, I'm really proud of an award that we got this year, because we got the Cuba Disco Award, which is the equivalent of the Grammys for Cuba. And it's, you know, if you can make your own people dance, if you can make your own people groove, I think that's pretty special.
And Arturo, what is the next project? What are you working on right now, and where are you going?
I'm doing two incredible things. We have a recording coming out August 21st on Motema called Cuba, The Conversation Continues. We recorded a big band album in Cuba at the Abala Studios with great American and Cuban composers and guests. I think it's an amazing album. It's probably my favorite thing I've ever done. I think probably the most special thing I've ever done. So I'm very excited to see what it'll do. People might hate it, people might love it, I don't know. But we put our whole lives into it, so I hope that people will love it. The other thing that I'm doing is I'm writing a concerto for a great professor, theologian, public spokesperson, activist, revolutionary named Cornel West. And Cornel West is outspoken in politics and in revolution, and he's a religionist as well. He teaches at Union Theological Seminary, and he's a wonderful, wonderful speaker. And so I wrote a concerto for him, the Cornel West Concerto. He's going to stand in front of the orchestra and just speak as we accompany him, and he gets to also improvise with us and interact with us.
Very interesting and very creative, right?
Yeah, I think
yes.
so.
And Arturo, can you, as an artist, how would you define art, the role of art in our society or in society in general?
Oh man,
Have you thought about that?
Oh, that's a beautiful question. Artists are guardians of truth. I know a lot of people disagree, but we are guardians, and we are bound, morally obligated to report what we think, what we feel, what we see. We're morally obligated to report on injustice, on the horrible injustice that society perpetrates on its poor. I don't care if it's Canadian society, American society, urban society. There's an incredible amount of hunger and disease and death in the world, while very few people have everything. Just a handful of people control all the resources. And on this day and this planet, we have enough to feed, educate, and have everyone living healthy lives. But because of the greed of a select few, and I think that, again, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get on my preacher soapbox, but the job of the artist is to tell the story of what is going on in life. Some people see abstract art too. Some people think art is just whatever beautifulness or ugliness you can create. But I think that the job of the artist is to communicate their work with the community, with the world at large, and to really state what they feel and what they think.
Wonderful, that was excellent. And Arturo, finally, I would like to ask you for posterity. How would you like to be remembered as an artist?
I'd like to be remembered as someone who never faked it, never pretended. Just someone who loves life and who is trying their best to be truthful and integral and be the very best that they can be.
Thank you so much, and we are very fortunate to have you with us. Thank you, Arturo,
Thank you.
and all the best to you.
Thank you so much.